right in queue. We've got the opening bell coming up, 1/3% higher, 0.4, almost there. So 24,285. Good to see some green straight off the bat. The Bank Nifty is up 0.5% as well. So 51,000, back at about 51,100 with this 0.5, 0.6% pop that we are seeing. Mid-cap index is up about 1/3%. And market breadth is 1:1, but more up than down. Last few sessions we've been straight away down with more down than up. So 100 triple-digit gain after a while coming through on the Nifty, and that's just about 0.35%. Look at the Nifty heat map. About 35 odd names are 36 odd names in the green and a minority in the red as we begin this session. So it's going to be all about financials straight up, and they're at the bottom of the screen reacting to earnings. Surabhi.
Okay, before earnings, two important announcements. Dr. Reddy's and Reliance, you're seeing very different rates because Dr. Reddy's has gone through a stock split and Reliance is X bonus. So therefore, the rate on Reliance is 1324. Okay, we'll just look at the change rates. Coal India is reacting negatively, down 2.5% on numbers. JSW Steel is down about 2% as well. ONGC is weaker. So a lot of the commodity-facing stocks starting the day on the weak side. L&T is the other one that's negative for the time being. On the upside, Shriram Finance, 5%. So the markets really liked the performance in the second quarter. ICICI Bank, obviously, we've been discussing great set of numbers, 2.5% up over there. BPCL, remember, some of these oil marketing companies fell very sharply just as numbers were coming through for BPCL and HPCL because of massive inventory losses in the second quarter. This morning, there's a bit of a leg up because anyway, crude oil prices have cooled off almost 4.5%, 5%. BPCL is up and about. SBI is up. M&M is up about 1% or so. So these are some of the early trends that we are getting. For the time being, the Nifty is managing an 80-point bounce.
Well, a few accidents actually from the broader markets. We need to take note of that. Interglobe Aviation, the stock is down now 9%. So massive hit is what we're seeing out there. IFB Industries, the margins have come down to around 5.6%, the standalone margins. I think Equirus was working with a number of around 8%. So that one now is down closer to around 14%. Remember, IFB Industries is one of those stocks that have created big wealth. But that one, in fact, now it's now down close to 14%. So that deserves special mention. Sonal had told us that Tatwa Chintan as well, those numbers were disappointing. So that's down closer to around 8% odd. You have Godavari Power and Ispat. Well, that one as well is pulling back considerably as we speak. The problem was in the past quarter's numbers. However, the way ahead will look much better for Godavari Power and Ispat because iron ore prices have moved up, pellet prices have got some base as well. So that's why, I think the stock started off in the red and now it's pulled back a little bit from the lows of the day. Now down only around 2.5% after starting off close to 7% lower. Managar Gas is down close to around 2%, but there are some winners. And I think today the sector of the day could actually be OMCs. They got smashed in the past week. Remember, the market sentiment was weak. Inventory losses higher than estimated as well. But HBCL is now up close to around 4%. There's an upgrade as well that's come in from Equirus. So that stock, in fact, is now up close to around 4%. DLF actually is reacting positively to its numbers. It's up close to around 2.5%. And Amara Raja as well, up 2.5%. Guys, some green on the screen. The bulls will like it.
Interglobe, Nigel, did you check? Sorry,
yes.
I missed. Yeah, still down. Yeah, 10% right now.
It's a big cut, no, absolutely. So, the two standout performers, large ones, are ICICI and Shriram. And both are, for many quarters now, absolutely rock steady with their performance, operating performance. Yes Bank is up 7%. Yes Bank is coming up with large volumes. Bandhan is up about 6%, but Bandhan, it does jump around once in a while, but then it's still not very far away from its COVID lows. DLF is up about 2.5%, 795 on DLF coming through. And these oil marketing companies, we were talking about this from the morning, all 4% higher, HP, IOC, BP. You've got, what else? Shakti Pumps up 5%, UTI AMC is up 7%. So 1222 on UTI AMC. Sirma was with us. The management was with us on the back of earnings. 7% pop on Sirma, 406. We should actually look at Dixon as well because Dixon numbers were very strong. And we had them up on Friday, 8:30 in the morning. And the stock ended 10% lower. Dixon is flat right now. So nothing on it for at this point. On the other side, apart from, I think, what we've already looked at, Poonawalla FinCorp is down 8.5%. Poonawalla FinCorp, 272. and that's a large cut. 1.5 million shares already traded. I think Nigel already mentioned ITD, 4%, 5% lower, 508. Look at Phoenix Limited, the mall operator, 7% cut in Phoenix, and that's a large name. So under 1,400 with that cut. And of course, I mean, the Credit Access and the Indigos and IDFCs, and I mean, those of course are Coal India. I mean, I think we've run through some of these names in any case. Action Construction Equipment is down 5%. IFB is down 14%, but I think IFB had one of those 15% pops last week. So there's a bit of a reversal coming through. Praj is down 4%. So it's a pretty vibrant screen as we look at the first few minutes of market open.
You know, on ITD cementation, I just want to mention the pricing. At its peak, the stock touched almost 640, 642, 643. The deal has happened at only 400 rupees per share. So I think that's something that could perhaps weigh on the market's mind. Though the open offer, there's no problem because, I mean, you simply go by the formula, you calculate. The open offer is coming in at 571. But the value that Adani is ascribing to it is 400. And I think that's saying something for a stock that went up to 650 odd. Or
you know,
odd.
I recall, I think close to around 18 months or 24 months ago, I'd gone to the management's office and we did an interview from there. At that point in time, the stock was 130, 140. And I said, the parent is in trouble. Is there a possibility that, they look to bail out because this is an asset that had good order book? And at that point in time, they said unlikely. When this announcement came that they wanted to sell, actually the stock was at 570 rupees on that day. So those who are waiting for the deal, it's been quite tricky for them because finally that deal is announced at a pricing which is fairly okay from an open offer point of view. But the way the stock has rallied 4x in I think less than 24 months explains why we are seeing some profit taking after that sort of a rally.
Indigo's limit down 10%, right? And that is telling. Because numbers are and there are some earnings cuts if you read analysts for 25 and perhaps for 26 as well. But at the margin, I mean, this entire talk of maybe a little bit of consumer slowdown, will that show up in aviation as well? Because that's been one of the strongest areas of consumer spending. So we'll have to see. Let's welcome